Welcome to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge podcast with your hosts Laura and Aneela, where timeless romance meets modern wisdom.
Today, Aneela and I are super excited to hang out with y'all about a very important topic. Welcome back to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge. I'm Laura.
And I'm Aneela. Today's episode is all about finding that sweet spot between maintaining your independence and fostering a deep, meaningful connection with your partner.
Yes, Aneela, you know, for me, this is such an important topic. I mean, first of all, I'm Scorpio. Second of all, I'm the oldest child. Independence is such a part of my DNA. And even more so as we navigate relationships later in life, because, you know, we kind of get in our groove. We've lived a lot of life by the time we hit our 50s. And it's so essential to balance our personal identity with the intimacy of partnership.
Absolutely, Laura. Let's dive right in. One of the first points we want to touch on is understanding that maintaining independence doesn't mean keeping your partner at arm's length. It's about having your own interests, hobbies, and time to yourself. Like you, Laura, I actually grew up in a very big family. There was 7 of us children. And of course, we had our friends in the neighborhood, but we did a lot of things as siblings because our parents were quite strict and kept us at home. So I didn't realize that as much as we bonded as siblings, there was a lot of codependency on my part. So when I moved out to Los Angeles for my ex-husband, it was then that I realized how codependent I was. I didn't have my own circle of friends and interests to do because I was navigating the waters. And I look back now and I can see how difficult it must have been for him as well. And although we loved hanging out together, we really did. I think there's such an importance now at this age. Like you said, we've lived so much life in our 50s to go, okay, there is an important and a lot of value in being an individual, having your own interests, doing things. So I'm really excited to talk on this topic today.
Yes, having the space to pursue your passions and interests not only enriches your life, but also brings such fresh energy into the relationship. It's like bringing new stories and experiences to share at the end of the day.
Exactly. Even as a little girl watching my mom and dad, because they both had their own, they went off to work and then they'd come home and my mom would cook dinner. They would actually fill each other in on what happened at both of their workplaces. And so it was their time of like bonding. They'd come and cook and my mom cooked and my dad would sit there and watch her, but they would, share their experiences in their days. So tip number 1, cultivate your own interests. Find what lights you up, whether it's painting, hiking, or a book club. Having activities that you enjoy independently is so crucial. And again, I'm so grateful that I did find my own way, and now I go hiking by myself, I do yoga by myself, I dance by myself, I hula hoop by myself. Like, I love hanging out with me. I'm pretty cool.
Yes, you are. You are one of the coolest chicks I know. And it's truly about keeping your individuality alive. And remember, your partner fell in love with you for who you are. And that includes your unique passions and interests. So it's so important and crucial, as Aneela said, to foster that so that your soul is fed, but your partner is continually inspired and intrigued and curious about you.
Absolutely. Keeping the excitement when you're coming home from doing an activity. Let's say you went hiking and you met someone and you come home and you share that with your partner, or you get into a great yoga stance and you're like, babe, I got into this. That truly brings you together because now, again, you're pulling your experiences and sharing it with another. All right, let's keep moving forward to tip number 2. Communication is the key. It's essential to communicate your needs and boundaries clearly with your partner. Like if you need to go out and have that morning run, communicate that to your partner. Say, look, I really need to get up in the morning and get out there and get my energy going with a good run. I get things out of my system and get new ideas. And I think sometimes we don't communicate what we need. We just sort of regress into our partner and do whatever they want. And that can be dangerous. So communicating what you need, what makes you happy, and that you need that time to do it is the key.
Absolutely. Expressing the importance of your personal space and time helps avoid misunderstandings. And I think, you don't, I mean, you can, I'm not going to make it wrong or right, but we all kind of have our own routine, and having an actual conversation about, maybe you have girls' night, maybe you have your own self-care time, and communicating that with your partner from the beginning will help create the balance and lead to a more fluid and vibrant relationship. When both partners understand each other's needs, it creates a healthier and more supportive dynamic.
Speaking of support, tip number 3, support each other's independence. Encourage your partner to pursue their interests too. Remember, it is a two-way street in a relationship. So if they need to go out and do something, don't become a Debbie Downer and demand that they don't do it. I think one of the most attractive things is being happy for your partner when they're doing something good for themselves.
Supporting each other in this way strengthens the bond and shows that you value each other's individuality. It creates trust, and it's incredibly affirming to know that your partner supports your growth and your happiness.
Yes, again, absolutely nothing more attractive than your partner supporting you and you supporting them rather than picking on why you're doing something that is good for your soul, right? Because then that makes us just want to run away. So, tip number 4 is scheduling quality time together. Yay, I love time together, even though we're talking about independence and finding that time. But while independence is important, so is dedicating time to connect deeply with your partner. So, and I do think sometimes when we're apart from each other and we come with excitement, and now we're sharing about what we've experienced, whether through our craft or, or whatever it is we're doing, that truly brings in a bonding. But to just really make time for each other, like schedule that out as well.
Just as I was saying before, having an understanding of what you need as a individual, and then making sure that you are prioritizing your regular date nights. And sometimes the word regular can just, turn into monotonous and boring. But the truth is, this is a discipline. This is about prioritizing and making your relationship, as well as your own personal pursuit of your passions, equally important. So planning regular date nights or activities that you both enjoy, it keeps the relationship exciting and helps you both feel so valued.
I couldn't agree with you more because life can throw so many things. And sometimes when we live together or we're with a partner and we're in a relationship, we can take each other for granted because it's just human nature. But to carve out that time and, as you said, to make it, your time, schedule it, it really does make such an impact. Like, that, Wednesday nights are, I don't know, movie nights, and Fridays are date nights. We go see our friends or whatever it be, but it's something to look forward to. It's something that you together are bonding on that, whether it's even a Netflix night, like it's your show that you guys watch together and you're bonding. Scheduling time for each other and making it a regular thing is amazing. It really does create such a deep bond. And here's an interesting perspective, Laura. Spending time apart can actually enhance your time together when you have time to miss each other, and then the moments you share become even more special. And that is what I truly learned, is that the more I did things, and I do now currently in my life with whomever I'm involved with and they're doing something, but when it's the coming together and sharing that, missing them when you're apart, that's where the magic is as well.
Girl, I don't know. I had a really good friend in my early 20s who was probably 10, 20 years older than me. And she was she was a friend, but she was also really, in some way, a mentor. And she was single, and she had her own house. She built her own house, like all of these things. And watching her being so at peace and okay with being alone and in her, it kind of gave me permission to, like, oh, it's okay. Like, it doesn't matter what age you are. It's okay, like, to spend time apart from your significant other. And that is leading us, as we've already been discussing, to our fifth tip, which is about balancing this well. So, creating rituals and traditions. This can be, as we've been discussing, small daily rituals or larger seasonal traditions that you both look forward to together and individually.
Ah, yes, rituals. I love rituals. I am a girl all about rituals. I mean, just my daily life and what I do, I realize it's like a ritual. I get up and I hike, and then I come and I do yoga, and then I meditate. It's like I'm on these rituals. But rituals create a sense of continuity and shared meaning, and it's which is so essential for building a deep connection. And it's a way for your partner or your friends or whoever to recognize that about you. Like, my family knows, even though they all live in Toronto and I'm in Los Angeles, they know that, do not call Aneela before this time, because she's most likely going to be hiking or doing her yoga practice or journaling. So now my family's gotten to a point, because I've created rituals for myself. And, in the past, they'd call and I didn't have any boundaries. I just pick up, even if I was in the midst of my yoga practice. And I realized I used to get a little frustrated. It wasn't their fault. It was my own fault, because I hadn't put my boundaries in place. And then I had the come to Jesus moment where I told my family, hey, listen, in the mornings, because you guys are 3 hours ahead of me, I'm just starting. And my 6 o'clock is your 9 o'clock. I'm just starting to go, and I give myself at least 2.5 hours to myself. So I'm going to start calling you guys after this time frame, which would be almost like noon their time. And then I'm free and I feel more present to be more deeply present with them and the conversations that we're having, instead of being so surface and trying to, in my mind, think I got to get off the phone because I got to finish what I'm doing. So it's important to create rituals. Trust me, people will respect you, because it's also a boundary that you're putting in place.
Another critical tip, number 6, is respect each other's alone time. Understand that alone time is not rejection, but such a vital and necessary part of each of your own self-care.
Ah, yes. I love this. Respecting and not taking it personally when your partner needs some solitude, because it is so vital for maintaining a balanced relationship. And this goes even with friendships. Like, I remember living with a girlfriend of mine, and there were moments that I just wanted my own space to process my thoughts, whatever was going on. I'm a very open and I share a lot, but I'm also somewhat of an introvert in that I hold a lot of things and I have to process stuff in my own mind. And I found at times my girlfriend would just barge into my room and just start talking and not even paying attention to what I was doing. And I would sometimes literally just be sitting there wanting to, meditate or write something out and being disturbed. And so I eventually said, hey, I adore you, but I need some me time sometimes. So when I close my bedroom doors, it just means I need alone time. And I wish and I ask for you to please respect that. when the doors are closed, just know that it's not against you. Do not take it personally, but it's about me fulfilling my own well-being so that when I come out of this bedroom and back into the house, I'm more calm. But when you barge in and start telling me stuff and I'm processing my own things, I can get a little flustered because I didn't get the alone time that I needed. So it's really important that we respect each other's alone time and, most importantly, not to take it personally.
I can tell you it's a lesson for me that I've had to learn, that when I was younger, when I would get into relationships, I am just an all in kind of girl. And I mean, again, talk about Scorpios. We can, like, people are already kind of overwhelmed with our just who we are as beings anyway. But add in being in a relationship, I literally had to, like, girl, check that at the door, because it's way beyond love bombing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people that are narcissists and whatever, and they love bomb you and it feels great and whatever. And then they pull back, and we won't get, that's a whole nother conversation. But for me, I had to discipline myself that, people can take me in doses. The truth. And I had to put myself in a place where, just because I may, in my head, that's the truth. It's in my head. I want to spend, like, I just want to be with this person all the time. The true core of me is like, no, I need the balance. I need that space, that, alone time, that self-care time, in order to maintain that balance. And, this brings us to tip number 7, which is encourage personal growth. We need to celebrate each other's achievements and support each other's goals. And for me, learning to give myself in doses, that's a celebrated achievement.
You are so cute. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. I don't know if it's when we're young, but I can relate to you, Laura, in that when I'm in a relationship and I like someone, I'm all the way in and I want to spend every single moment with them. But I think also that had a lot to do when I was much younger too. I think now it's different because I've carved out such a different life for myself. Like, I do love my alone time. Perfect example, like today. I did so much self love. I really did not want to be out there in the world. I hiked, I did yoga, I meditated, I swam, I read a book. It's a holiday, so I read a book. I did not want to be around people because I just wanted to really dive and give myself some nurture, loving. I even got a massage. It felt so good. All the entire day was to myself, and it was probably one of my favorite days. And I was like, why in the world have I not done this sooner? Why have I waited this long to do this much self-love? And it does stem with growth. And that's why they say, maturity comes at a certain place of our lives. I think it's past our 40s when maturity really comes in, clarity about what this is all about. So even though now I want to be in a relationship too, and I'm in relationships and I'm trying people, I am so different in the way that I'm showing up. And growth is a big factor because growth as individuals leads to growth as a couple. And it's about evolving together while maintaining your unique paths. And again, I really do believe that some of us get this in our youth, but I think a lot of us get this in much later in our lives. And that's why people that have gone through, a marriage and divorce, you get more hindsight of like what you did wrong in the past and where your immaturities were, your insecurities as well. And let's face it, there are so many books about, in order to be a healthy and loving partner, you must love yourself first. And what does that all stem down to? Everything we're talking about here: honoring yourself, creating boundaries, doing things for yourself, being an individual, and loving yourself as an individual. That's what it is.
Yes. And lastly, tip number 8 is check in regularly. Make it a habit to have open and honest conversations and how you're both feeling in a relationship. And I don't think that this should be a part of your date night. I think this is something completely separate. Like for me, at the beginning of the month, I have Neela. I have my Create Your Monarch planners as well as we have your Find Your Vibe planner, and it's a 30-day planner. So I get them in 90-day increments. And I don't, clearly we don't necessarily want to look at our relationships like we do a business, but at the same time, the practices and habits that we incorporate into successful businesses are equally beneficial when it comes to relationships. So having that, beginning of the month, sit down, look at your calendars together and really map out, like, when are you going to check in? When are when's your time for alone time? When's your time in celebrating each other and celebrating your friends, etc. So again, having those open and honest conversations about how you're both feeling is super important.
Great advice. I love that. And I also like what you said about not doing it during date night, Laura. Like, date night should be a night where you guys are just having your fun time. That's just my opinion. I mean, others might disagree and say, no, date night you should be able to talk. But I do subscribe to what you're saying, is that do a check-in with each other. It just helps. It kind of like, gets everything aired out. And it's a great way to sort of share how you're feeling. And again, it goes back to one of our other episodes that we talked about. Communication is such a key, right? And I don't know if again, I really love this vintage vibe thing about, I know people hate putting numbers and going, oh, 50 and above, oh my God. But I actually love it so much. And I love it because of the wisdom that is coming at this age and onwards, right? Because it's when we look back that we can say, damn it, that's where I was terrible, or I could have been better at this. And so definitely communicating and doing check-ins. I don't think we did. I know I didn't. I shouldn't say we or anyone for that matter. Sorry, but I didn't do regular check-ins with my partners, and especially with my ex-husband. I just assumed he could read my mind, which is the worst thing. I don't know why we think that as women, some of us, that if I'm upset, they're going to know why, and they won't. So it's good. It's very good to sort of have that discussion and say, hey, this is what I'm upset about. And making the right time for it. You might not want to be a Debbie Downer on date night, but maybe the next day, maybe at the date, maybe how you do it is on the date night. Say, babe, there's some stuff I'd love to talk to you about, but tonight's our date night, so let's just have fun. Can we talk about it, on the weekend or tomorrow morning over coffee? I don't know, but I like that regular check-ins. I think that's a great way to keep airing out all the issues that you have and not build any resentment for each other.
Okay, so to wrap up, balancing independence and partnership is all about maintaining your unique identity while nurturing the relationship. You have to remember, as we said in the beginning, you were attracted to this other person for who they were and vice versa. So if you don't continue to nurture that part of your unique identity, then your relationship is going to suffer. It's a dance of giving back and forth, each other space to grow, and coming together to share that growth.
Absolutely. And remember, ladies, it's never too late to find that balance. Embrace your individuality and cherish your partnership. Like I said, it's taken me this long to look back now and go, yep, wish I could change this. Wish I could change that. Now I know not to do that, do more of this, and it all comes. So it's never too late. And we are forever growing and evolving and improving who we are. And it's through these discussions and through us sharing our journeys with everyone out there and hearing back from you all that we can truly learn collectively and grow from it.
Thank you all so much for joining us in episode 10 of the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge. We hope, as always, that you found these tips helpful and inspiring.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, keep shining and loving fiercely. We will see you again on our next episode.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram at Vintage Vibe Match. Remember, love knows no age. Get out there and find your vibe and keep vibing with us until next time. Connect with us at findyourvintagevibe.com.